From Colby Covington calling out Israel Adesanya to Renato Moicano on his warrior spirit and Gilbert Burns' special preparation for Khamzat Chimaev. All this and more in today's MMA rumor. Let's get to it. 1. Colby Covington says Israel Adesanya is a cardio kickboxer and doesn't think he's any good. Colby Covington is at it again. Nearly 2 weeks removed from a unanimous decision win over Jorge Masvidal in the UFC 272 main event, he's now calling out UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya. Colby has been in the news a lot recently on account of who he could fight next. The fact is, he's not in line for a welterweight title shot anytime soon, as he's already challenged the champion, Kamaru Usman, twice and came up short both times. The first via TKO in the last minute of the last round in late 2019, and then again this past November via unanimous decision. While Usman shot down any chance of moving up in weight to challenge Adesanya on account of them both being Nigerian, Colby has been mentioned as a potential challenger for Adesanya. And why not? Colby is an incredible fighter with a strong grappling skill set and a gas tank that can go for days. Adesanya, meanwhile, is starting to lap the 185-pound division, having been just as dominant a champion at middleweight as Usman is at welterweight. Even Colby's mentor, Chael Sonnen, believes that Colby should make a play to move up in weight and challenge Adesanya for the title. Colby seems to be heeding his master's advice and said this in a recent interview on Submission Radio.
You know, why can't I fight Adesanya? That guy he can't stop my wrestling. I'll pick him up and drop him on his fucking head. You know, he's a cardio kickboxer. They got enough cardio kickboxers in women's classes around the U.S., you know? Like, I could go join one of those as well, but you know, I decided to pick up hard, grueling American wrestling. And so I don't think Adesanya can stop my American wrestling, and I don't think he's that good a fighter.
While Adesanya has a title defense scheduled sometime later this year against #1 contender Jared Cannonier, if he successfully defends his title again, then there really wouldn't be that many clear-cut opponents in his division that could seriously have a claim to challenge Adesanya. Colby has also called out Dustin Poirier, his former teammate at American Top Team, but the Diamond seems to favor a fight against Nate Diaz instead. What do you think about Colby calling out Adesanya? If this fight ever happens, who would you bet on? Let us know in the comments below. 2. Gilbert Burns enlists help from 2 secret Russian fighters. Preparing for Khamzat Chimaev is a tricky endeavor. He's a powerful fighter who has a really strong wrestling skill set, but doesn't really have so much in-cage time that would allow for a ton of tape study. Khamzat is 10-0 and 4-0 in the UFC and has finished all of his fights inside of 2 rounds. This is how good the Chechen Swede has been in MMA, so it's no wonder that he has a ton of hype going into a fight against former title challenger Gilbert Burns. The Brazilian is no slouch in the grappling department either. He's a world champion BJJ black belt, one of the top jiu-jitsu practitioners in the world, certainly in MMA. However, even he recognizes that what the Russians do is just a bit different. Recently, Burns admitted that he's getting some extra help from some Russian friends while on the Troy Cacau Franca Portuguese podcast. This is what he said translated into English. I had to hire 2 wrestlers, 2 very tough Russians who are helping me daily. They asked to keep their names a secret and I had to agree because they're showing me a lot of stuff, changing a lot of stuff in my game. I always like single leg takedowns, double leg, body lock, but the Russians have different details, unique grips. You think they are super strong, but they aren't. They are strong, but their technique is great. While Burns is no stranger to wrestling, the techniques and movements that Russian wrestlers have is different from his experience and is looking to get any boost he can get. Burns is looking to get back into title shot contention, and he is going to come into this clash at UFC 273 next month, having won his last fight against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson last July, another former welterweight title challenger. What do you think of Burns hiring 2 Russians to help him ahead of the Chimaev fight? Let us know in the comments below. Before we get to our next story, take a second to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the latest fight news. 3. No regrets from Renato Moicano in taking the RDA fight on short notice. The entire world saw just how much courage and toughness Renato Moicano has during his UFC 272 fight against Rafael dos Anjos nearly 2 weeks ago. Moicano went the full 25 minutes against RDA despite the fact that he took the fight on just a few days' notice. RDA was set to take on Rafael Fiziev in the UFC 272 co-main event, a fight that had the entire fight world on pins and needles. RDA is a former lightweight champion and a world-class MMA fighter with tons of high-level experience. Fiziev is an up-and-coming potential contender in the division, so this fight was highly anticipated, but Fiziev tested positive for COVID-19 and was forced out of the bout. The UFC was left scrambling to find a replacement, and they did in the form of Renato Moicano. The Brazilian had just finished Alexander Hernandez via rear naked choke in the second round just a few weeks earlier on February 12th at UFC 271. Moicano was riding a 2-fight win streak when he answered the UFC's call to step in to face RDA at UFC 272. Not only was the fight going to take place on just 4 days' notice, he also had to fly from Brazil to the US and get ready throughout that time. Despite the fact that he lost via unanimous decision, he had the entire fight world on their feet cheering for him. Many times throughout the fight, it seemed like he would be finished, only for him to prove how incredibly durable he was. Now, in speaking with MMA Junkie, Moicano says there are no regrets. This is what he said.
I did the best that I had, and I don't regret. Congratulations to him. This loss doesn't bother me. I don't get sad. I don't get angry on nobody or nothing like that, because I feel I did my best, and I took a 4 days notice fight against a former champion, and I know I will do better, and this fight gonna help me to do better in the future.
What do you think about Moicano's comments about taking the fight on short notice? Let us know in the comments below. There's always so much going on in the fight world, and we got it all here for you on MMA Rumor. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell to keep updated with all things MMA. Thanks for watching.